6 million plus views on YouTube. Today you have more than 100,000 plus subscribers.
I'm doing YouTube for almost 3.5 years. I've never owned a camera. I've done editing, video, everything on my phone. I started my channel a year after my mom passed. It was basically like me trying to fulfill something for her because she's always been my cheerleader.
Recently you received a YouTube Silver Award. If I'm starting a YouTube channel in 2024, what are my chances of succeeding?
It depends on content and consistency. Long videos definitely will help you because after you get monetized, of course, longer videos will pay you more, to be honest, especially if it's worth it.
Should I quit my job to start YouTube? Yes or no? Going from 0 to 1,000 subscribers in some short steps.
What are you looking to put out there? What do you have to offer? Do you know what your niche is? YouTube, just like every other job, is tasking. And if you don't enjoy doing it, you'll get tired at some point. You want anything that can set you apart, do it.
What's up, my smart friend? Before you jump straight into this episode, there are 3 boxes I'd love you to check while you watch. First things first, please make sure to hit the subscribe or the follow button down below because the more we grow, the bigger guests we can approach on this platform and the more value we can bring to you here on the podcast. Second, a lot of friends always reach out to me and say something like, "Hey, Arrey, I really did enjoy this particular segment of this episode." What I want you to do, if you get to a point like that, pick up your phone and send this to a friend and say, "Hey, check this out between 10 to 15 minutes. There's something very important I'd love you to see." Number 3, please make sure to check out the links in the description for very helpful resources. You're going to find the link to join the Smart Club, which is my private mentorship club for friends who want to learn and master a high-income digital marketing skill. Whether your goal is to build your personal brand, become a freelancer, or get a job in digital marketing, the Smart Club is going to be the right place for you. Also, you're going to find the link to join our 21,000 Smart Friends on email, where you're going to receive an email from me once every week. Plus, down below, you're also going to see links to connect with the guest. So please make sure you tick those 3 boxes and enjoy the rest of this episode.
The first question we'll always really ask on the podcast is, how do you feel about yourself in this present phase of your life? So if someone asked you that question, I know it's a thoughtful one, what would you say?
In one word, I'll say grateful. I'll say grateful because I always say to the people close around me, like, YouTube changed my life, as in it is something that, like, something I didn't know I needed. And then the thing came into my life and it changed my life so drastically that I'm like, why did I stall? Why was I procrastinating for 7 years to get started? But at the same time, I think I already have access to that because, of course, maybe if I started 7 years ago, I wasn't ready. I didn't know, like, I don't know. I'll never know, I guess. But yeah, so I'm just rest assured in the fact that it happened when it was supposed to happen. Because I started my channel a year after my mom passed. And it was basically like me trying to fulfill something for her, because she's always been my cheerleader. I have a video where I basically talked about this, and she's been the one person where she's like, oh, when she saw that I could draw, she would get me drawing books and crayons, and she'll be like, draw. I would draw stories and write them, and she'll be like, she'll like them. Right? I was like, oh, mom, I want to do painting. She would enroll me into the painting thing. If it's dancing, she actually came to watch me dance the one time. Right? I used to hear that I dance a lot at school. And then the one time she actually came to watch me perform, I was so frightened, but at the same time I was like, wow, my mom actually came. So all these things, like she kept like, oh, you have a lot that you can actually show people, you can teach people. Even if you don't teach people, you can start this. And so just like basically always encouraging, like being very encouraging about like what you have in you, don't sleep on it, basically. So when she passed, I basically was starting YouTube almost like a coping mechanism because it was during COVID. Like she passed in 2019 and then 2020 COVID started. And then everyone is like in your house and you're all in your head. I'm at home with my husband and family is around. But then again, you still find yourself alone most of the time. And then I just felt like, okay, crafting and doing other things and filming. I love editing. I love taking videos and editing before YouTube. So I was like, oh, I'll try to do videos and then try to play around with the editing styles and then just like, watch it. So I was like, okay, I'll start it off on TikTok, and a friend of mine, why don't you just put these things on YouTube and all of that? And she's been pushing, and she had started YouTube a while back, and she kept encouraging me. And then she was encouraging me to start YouTube for food. for cooking.
Your mom had started YouTube before.
No, my friend, my
Your
mom.
friend. Okay. I wanted to say that was like tech mom.
You watch YouTube videos, a lot of them,
Okay.
but no. A friend of mine has started YouTube a while back, and she had been
Mhm.
encouraging me to like
Yeah.
get started. So I used to like just tell her all the things like my mom would encourage me to do. She was like, "Yeah, but you're already doing them and just posting snippets on your Facebook and your TikTok. You should just put them on YouTube." And
Yeah.
then I used to cook a lot and do videos, and I had like a whole food album on my Facebook. And she actually is in the cooking food niche, so she was like, I should
Yeah.
join her. So when I started YouTube, I actually was alternating, and like, okay, I'll post a food video, I'll post a workout video, I'll post a DIY, and then some random other video, and then just keep repeating. But my audience, I guess, found me, and they're like, no, we want just the DIY and the decor. We like the cooking, but we want DIY and decor. So I stuck
Yeah.
with that. But yeah, so that's just basically when I think YouTube, I just think grateful. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Around December 2023, you celebrated 6 million plus YouTube, 6 million plus views on YouTube. And then I think today you have more than 100,000 plus subscribers. And recently you received a YouTube Silver Award.
For real.
Yeah, which I can imagine that sounded so good. Yeah.
It's surreal. I will tell you. Like, even sometimes I see that, I sit and I look at it and I'm like, wow. Okay, yes, I knew, like, I had a goal in mind when I started. So I wouldn't tell anyone like, oh, I just started YouTube Paraza. That's not gonna be true. Because I was very intentional when I started, and this is something I've been singing a lot. I've been write some of it in my write-ups and posts and all of that. Like, setting an intention is very powerful because it kind of also sets you. It makes you accountable to you, to yourself. Because when I started, even though I was starting, okay, I was like, from January of 2020, and that's the winter year, I was seasonal depression is real. So you just want to find something to occupy yourself. You're not reading, you're doing something besides just going to work, right? So I was basically just binge watching and trying to study about, creating videos on YouTube, how to get started on YouTube, and watch other people, where they started, where they are at now, and all of that, how difficult it is. But I was thinking, like, there's over 1 million people on YouTube, like, doing, yes, someone struggling, no doubt, but it means something, it can work. It could work or it could not work. But the one thing that kept resonating over and over in all these videos was staying consistent, putting in the work, and all of that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. As much as I enjoy doing this, I'm going to commit to this for a whole year. And I told myself, I actually have, I like to journal, so I like to write down things. So I still have that with me. So I wrote down on there, I wrote the date. I'm like, I'm going to upload my first video on July 1st, but I ended up uploading my first video on June 24th. And I said, every week for the next 52 weeks, I'm going to post at least one video. I'm not going to skip a week. I said, no matter what, I'm not going to skip a week. That's what I kept telling myself. And then I was like, the hope is that within 6 months, let me get at least 1,000 subscribers. And then I get monetized. Hopefully I get monetized in 6 months. And I kept seeing stories of people like, oh, it took me 2 years. It took me more than a year. I'm like, you know what, just, and then I try to look at their trajectory. And I try to look at their channel. I say, okay, so there's those no gaps. Okay, there are times that they weren't consistent. I said, okay, I'm going to bridge that. I'm going to try, stay consistent to what I've told myself I'm going to do. And lo and behold, the first 6 months, in December, for some reason, I felt like, okay, I had a bit more to keep going. So I posted twice a week. To date, I don't know how I did that because I can't seem to find the time to do 2 videos per week now. But yeah, I did that. And by December, like the 6 month mark, I was at 3,000 subscribers. I was like, okay, my book is saying that I was hoping for 1,000. I'm at 3,000. Means I'm doing something right. I was like, okay, we're done the first half. Let's finish the next half. January, that was when I felt like was the turning point for my channel because it just went. A video of mine just blew up, and before I knew it, I was at 10,000 subscribers. Towards the end of January, February, I was at 15,000. I'm like, whoa, okay, what's going on? Like, it just happened so fast. And I'm like, then I got my first paycheck in December. And in January, I was like, okay, I see. I can see how this thing can make sales. Like, okay, let's just go to the 1 year mark. I think by the end of the 1 year mark, I was at around almost 30,000 subscribers. I'm like, I told myself that 1 year I want to be at 5,000.
Yeah.
And the 1 year I wanted to be at no 2 years. My 2 year mark was to be at 5,000, at least 5,000. Because in my mind, I want to be. I thought gaining about 1,000 subscribers per year was at least a fair place to be. But
Yeah.
I guess God had other plans for me. So yeah. So that's just it.
I totally love the story because I think that there's a lot to draw from it. So I have a story I call the 1,000 story, right? The 1K story.
Yeah.
For me, it was when 2017 I started blogging. That was actually my entry into the digital space. So when I started blogging, for me, just like you, just like said in your story, I made a promise to myself. I said, Arrey, you're going to publish one blog article every day for the next 1,000 days. And then if you publish that, I said to myself, Arrey, if you do that for 1,000 days and you feel like this is not the field for you, leave it. You've tried. So that's exactly what I did. I would say around maybe 400 and something, which was maybe like 1 year into it. We started getting about 30 to 50,000 readers. And then I put together a small PDF, sent the team down. We started, hey, businesses, could you please advertise with us? And yeah, that was my journey, 2017, my first million on blogging.
Wow.
That's how I did it. So I so much relate a lot with what you're saying. And I think that you have a very interesting story. There are two things I want us to talk a bit about before we continue. The first thing is about procrastination, which I think that a lot of people, and for anyone watching this right now, it's I'm going to start. What do you think is a fair way to deal with procrastination? And then after that, I want you to talk a bit about the intentionality and the consistency, because I think that's very important with whatever we're doing. But let's talk about procrastination first.
Procrastination is I don't know, B. But it gets to the most of us, and that's just life, I guess. But I can't really say how it's. Sometimes even now I still struggle with procrastination, but
We all do.
yeah. So that's just being honest. But me procrastinating for 7 years, because I actually uploaded a very first video on YouTube in 2013. Where I actually used my iPad. I used to love to do like head wraps. So I had like over 20 different colored scarves. So I was like, I'm going to show how I usually tie my hair in the winter to protect it from breaking. So I sat in front of the camera and just did a video and showing like, I think like 5 or 7 different ways to tie your scarf. And I uploaded it and people liked it. And then after a while, I went back and deleted it. Yeah, I went back and deleted the video because I was like, I didn't have any plan. I was just posting a video for me. I thought I was just posting a video. I didn't understand what thumbnail was. It was like selected thumbnail. Like, what is this? What's thumbnail? So I just posted whatever I posted. No, nothing. It was slow. There was no editing. There was zero editing in it because it was going to take me 20 minutes to tie one scarf. I was sitting there for that 20 minutes and I posted the video like that. So imagine how long that video was. Anyway, so I got back.
Do you remember how many views that video had?
I think it had about 500 and something views because I posted it on YouTube and then I linked it. I posted it to my Facebook, like the link to my Facebook, and most of the people that I knew were watching and a few subscribed. But I was like, I didn't quite understand what YouTube was, to be honest. I just knew it was a video platform thing, and I actually shot the video in YouTube on my iPad. Anyway, so I did that, but and with procrastination, for me, the way I thought I dealt with it this time around was basically just saying, you know what, I'm going to drop all the excuses. I'm going to make do with what I have, because these were all the excuses I had over the years. I was like, oh, I need a good camera. I want to save up and get a good camera. I will save up partially and then I'll end up using the money for something else. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, okay, if I get a good camera, I need to get ring lights. I need to get this. I have to do this. I have to get my ducks in a row before I get started. Trust me, you will never get all your ducks in a row for anything. So sometimes it's just to jump up and start. And to date of doing YouTube for almost 3.5 years, I've never owned a camera. I've done everything on my phone. Editing, video, everything. I've done on my phone.
Say that again. So you've done YouTube for 3.5 years, never owned a camera.
I don't still have a camera. And now I thought about buying a camera, and now I've gotten so comfortable with my phone that I'm thinking like, that'll be a new learning curve. And I'm like, as another procrastination, obviously, because I know, yes, of course, if I get a camera, I'm guessing the video quality will look good better, but people are like, no, your videos look clear. I'm like, okay, then what's the point? I use my iPhone. I started off with an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and then I have an iPhone 11 Pro Max, 13 Pro Max as well, which I use. And for me, I feel like it's convenient because I edit wherever. I can be in a gathering. I already have a video shot. I just be editing. I don't have to flip out a computer and sit on it and be trying to edit or something. So that's how it's been. And I kept asking myself when I started, and when I hit the 1 year mark, I was like, exactly what's my reason for not starting? I kept telling myself that I need a camera for, because this is me doing YouTube. I got to 100,000 subscribers with just my phone. So you who's out there waiting to get a good camera to start on YouTube for content creating, trust me, you don't need a camera. You may need a camera down the line, but to get started, you don't need a camera. That's my take with procrastinating for content creators, because most of the time that tends to be it. And then the second part was, I kept thinking, like, okay, I'm very adept at doing a lot of things. So I kept thinking, like, what exactly would be my niche? I'm trying to figure things out before I get started. So would I cook? Would I do workout videos? Would I do DIYs? Would I do decor? Would I dance? What would I do? So I kept freaking out, like, I may be all over the place. I'm being a jack or Jill of all trades, and then going to be a mistress of none.
Yeah.
So by the time I shot my first video, because before I started posting on YouTube, I batch filmed and edited at once. So I had videos already scheduled out for like 2 months, so that while that is actually going live, I can be prepping for this. That actually really gave me a lot of breathing space, and I didn't feel so much overwhelmed. Yeah. So that really kind of set me, I'll say, really helped to set me on the way to getting started and not like procrastinating a lot. So whenever anyone that has reached out to me, they'll tell you, the first thing I tell them is do the same thing. That is going to really clarify a lot of things for you, because after doing that, I kind of like break them down under each topic. I'm like, okay, fitness, this is what I can do. Food, this is what I can do. DIY, this is what I can do. And as you start posting, you find yourself, oh, I'm going to do a part 2 to this, because depending on how people are reacting to it, right? Or I can put it, your audience appreciation, and some of them will give feedback, and you're like, okay, I could try to do a part 2, or I could actually do another version of this, and the ideas just keep coming. So procrastinating for me is like, don't wait to have your ducks in a row. Just get up, get started, and let everything else follow, or figure other things out as you go.
I really like that you're talking and getting into my script and answering some of the questions that I've already planned to ask. And I'm just like, I'm screwing the script. Let's talk about the side of consistency. A lot of people struggle with that. I think that for me, one of the ways that one of the ways that I try to deal with that is setting a system. I have a quick story that I always say. So when I was struggling to wake up very early in the morning at, let's say, like 7 a.m., and I spoke to someone who I consider like a senior, he said to me, you're just not going to wake up with the alarm if it has not worked for you. There are people who are going to wake up with the alarm. And so he gave me a little idea and said, okay, rule number 1, don't keep the alarm next to the bed like you always do, because what happens is that the moment you get the alarm, you grope, you get it with your hand, and you turn it off. So he said, keep it 5 meters away. I did. I kept it 5 meters away. And the second thing he said, which was really cool, is keep a glass of water next to the alarm, so that when you get up in the morning, say to yourself, Arrey, I will walk to that table, I will turn off the alarm, and then I will drink the glass of water. If you finish drinking that glass of water and you feel like sleeping, go back to sleep. That was literally a bait he gave me. So I went back home. I did it for the first 3 to 5 days. And that's exactly how, I think after about 3 or 5 days, I literally stopped it, because I could now wake up by myself. Right now, if it's around 7 to 8, I just wake up from bed, because I've been wired that way, and just consistently waking up at that time helps you to become a bit focused. And that led me to thinking that one of the most important things for consistency is setting an easy system, which you can always follow up with. And so I was wondering how you are able to, what was the extra thing that you are doing when it comes to your consistency, or is there something in regards to your content? How do you structure that for yourself?
Well, for me, with regards to consistency, like I had mentioned earlier, I felt like the intention that I set from the start kind of also drove me. And it is one thing I always tell people, okay, when people are always like, oh, how do you manage to stay consistent? Not just with YouTube, how do you manage to stay consistent with working out and all these other things? Is it boils back down to your why. Why did you start in the first place? What did you set in place when you started to keep you going? Because as much as I say to not procrastinate, to just get up and get started, you want to have a why when you're just getting started. Because like you said, there'll be days that you not feel like it, but you just have to show up because you know your why. For me, my why was like, I told myself 1 year, I'm going to try this thing, just like you said you did with your blog. And the same thing I told myself was, if after 1 year, this thing is my dream, what I was asking, I felt was not a lot. As if after 1 year, I'm at least 2,000 subscribers, then the YouTube is not for me. That's what I was telling myself. But I was still ready to give it a try, even after the 1 year. If I was not monetized and I felt like, okay, maybe the views were picking up, maybe some things were picking up, I probably would have kept on going. But what actually drove me after that was the fact that I made a plan to stay consistent by just showing up. I was like, okay, it doesn't matter what's going on in that week. Find at least 1 hour. Shoot, even if it's just a 5-minute video. Shoot it, edit it, and schedule it. And because, of course, life gets busy, I have my 9 to 5. YouTube is not like my main hustle right now yet. So I still have my 9 to 5. I still have a family to take care of. You have other activities. I have a decor business to look after and all these other things that you have to do besides YouTube. As much as I was trying to get that on the line, because it was like still my baby, I was still trying to nurture it. What I knew was going to work for me was to actually schedule, to plan ahead and try to schedule out. So my advice to anyone starting out there, trying to start out there, is to have a schedule, have a plan. I like to write. As much as we have a lot of things now digitalized, I'm still old school. I like to write and draw diagrams, sketches, and all of that. It kind of helps me have a better picture in my head. So I would draw out this whole trajectory and be like, okay, I'll write February 1st, February 2nd. I put the days, like I handwrite it. I don't want a calendar. I want to write it out. So I'll be, okay, on this day, shoot video, this day, edit videos this day, schedule out video, this. So that kind of I felt like I was accountable to myself. And being able to, when we have a lot of long weekends here, by the way, which I kind of like. So when I have those opportunities, I'll try to like batch film, just film a lot of videos and then try to sit down and then edit them and then try to schedule it out. So I can catch a breather for at least a couple of weeks before I get back to filming again. But just try to find what will work for you and making your plan to like fit what you do. It's true, life will happen. Things will come into place that you didn't expect them. Till date, cannot honestly tell you how I managed to stay consistent for a whole year without missing a single week. Like I lost my uncle, who is technically like my dad because my dad passed on earlier during that year. But how I managed to I think I had a video scheduled out that week, and that's probably what saved me because God knows I didn't have the strength to shoot a video. But those are kind of things that will happen if you're planned and ready. It's gonna like help you like jump such hurdles, because then you not find yourself giving an excuse. As much as some excuses are valid, no doubt, but when you plan ahead and you have some kind of plan, some of those excuses can be mitigated somehow. So it's just having a plan for yourself basically will help you a lot with consistency and your why, your raison d'etre, as they always say.
Totally agree.
What's up, guys? Very quick one before you keep watching the rest of the video. So we have just announced the launch of the Smart Club, which is my private mentorship club for anyone who wants to learn a high income digital marketing skill. So I just wanted to have a quick break to tell you about it. 12 plus digital marketing skills that you can learn from, whether you're building your personal brand, whether you want to become a freelancer, a service provider, or your goal is to learn that digital marketing skill and land a digital marketing job. 12 plus digital marketing skills, and I'm personally going to mentor you for the next couple of months every week through my live master classes and everything like that. And so I just wanted to break here and ask you to go check it out. Down in the description, there's going to be a link. Go check it out and make sure that you enroll in the club before you continue watching the rest of the video. I look forward to seeing you on your very first club session.
You mentioned earlier, you said when you just started that sometimes you did food content, other times you did DIY. Then you realized that at some point your audience was gravitating towards DIY. And what are some of the metrics you looked at in that moment to realize, oh, I want to focus on DIY, or I want to focus on this? And I want you to kind of talk to that about in regards to someone watching this and trying to find their niche for themselves.
Okay, so I always say to my close pals that my niche found me. I didn't find my niche. I say that because I say that playfully, but as it was a niche that I was technically already in, but I didn't just narrow down to it, right? I say that because when I started, I was alternating. So I'll be like, in a month, there are 4 weeks. I'll be like, okay, week 1, it's food video. Week 2, workout video. Week 3, DIY video. Week 4, I had what I used to call RTJJM, things that just matter. Like anything that I felt was fun, random, entertaining, enlightening, or teaching, I'll post. So that's how I used to alternate when I started. And then I noticed that the DIY videos were gaining more traction. Like I have audience, my audience was like, okay, it had more views. All the DIY videos were getting more views than the other ones. The other ones were fine. And I noticed that like the food and the workout videos had a little bit of traction, and most of the audience there were Cameroonians, especially the food part of it, of course, because it's different. And then I noticed that DIY is kind of universal. Food is universal as well, but it can also be limiting if you're focusing on maybe just food from Cameroon. Unless someone is interested in food from Cameroon, I'm not going to really sit there and watch that video. So, but I was not trying to limit myself to doing just food from Cameroon. I was more or less wanting to do more food, healthy eating, like the African way or whichever way, like just try to eat healthy, like food is not bad kind of idea. That's what I wanted to do, which I'm still going to be doing. I'm still doing currently because I have a second channel now where I'm not going to limit myself in this one. But when I started, my idea was that I'm a no niche channel. And I was like, I just want to put everything I want to showcase out there. So after a couple of videos, I reached out to a DIY couple, when I noticed some of my videos were picking up. And they're like, it would be nice, you do really good DIY. I see you have a lot in you. It would be nice if you can focus on the DIY aspect of things. Maybe not cut out the other things completely. Maybe post more DIY videos, and then once in a while controlling the fashion video. So I tried that. But guess what? As much as it still had some views, it wasn't as well as the DIY videos, because most of the people who were subscribing to see more DIYs and decor. So at that point, I just felt like, okay, I got time for me to focus more on DIY. And at some point now, I was just like, okay, just DIYs. And I love the DIY and decor, no doubt. But I still felt like, oh, I like these other things that I want to also do. So I'll post them on my Facebook and stuff, or Instagram. And my mom was like, why don't you just start a second channel? I was like, it's hard enough managing one channel. So starting a second channel is not being safe. I went ahead and started a second channel. And when I started one channel, my mindset was that I'm not going to be as rigid or as strict with this one like I was with my main channel. This channel for me, I termed it in the intro, which I posted on there, was this is my whatever, whenever. So whenever you see a video, you see it. If you don't see a video, no problem. There's no rule book to this channel. So it's just like me basically showcasing who Nora is in this video, like whatever I'm posting, whatever and anything on that channel. no being in a box. I don't like to be in a box. That I know. So I'm like, even with my DIY and even niching down with just DIY, I feel like my DIYs are kind of like different. I don't like to just go with the crowd. Let me put it that way. I like to like, okay, this is what I like. This is how I like to do it. This is how I would do it, and I'll do it that way. So if you like it, fine. If you don't like it, no problem. No hard feelings. Everybody cannot like everything at the same time. So that's how I looked at it, and that's how I look at both channels. So I'm just like posting whatever on this one, and then focusing on DIY on this one now, because that's basically what has helped me grow the channel to where it is right now, to be honest. So yeah.
Your explanation makes me want to ask you, what is the side of you that you would most like your audience to discover?
I feel like they already discovered everything. Because I don't know, over there I play too much. I like sometimes way too much, but I can't help it. It's just me. But yeah, the side of me that I'll say I would like to discover would be, I don't know if I could say the non-playful side of me, because I believe they've seen that too. Because when I'm serious, I can be serious. With the things that, like, I'm serious with what I know I have to do. But overall, when it gets too serious, I'll just play. Either way, because I just don't want to be, I don't like to feel like everything is like, boxed. I don't know. I don't just like that. So, but I can't really tell which side of me I would like my audience to know, because the personal life side of me, I feel like it's good for everyone to have, a little bit of mystery to them. So that part, I think I'm going to keep. So I feel like they already know everything about me, to be honest. Like, but if it's my personal life, that's the part and that's where it's hard for me to actually vlog. Like, I love to watch vlogs. I love vlogging. But if I'm vlogging, I'm not vlogging like, a day in my life today where I'm going to be like, okay, this is that. And like basically showcasing my family in a kind of, like, if it's just vlogging and showing maybe an experience, that's different. But I feel, and my husband's not even going to agree to that. So even if I wanted to, he's going to be like, no. So yeah, I just feel like my audience already knows a lot about me. If there's anything else that they need to know, trust me, it's just going to show up somehow. I'm not even going to be able to like hide it. It's just going to show up. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question.
Right. I think that what you're touching is very important, because with the coming of social media and the rise of influencers, and I faced this a lot, I had to sit myself down and say, look, there are certain things about yourself, and it's a decision for me. There's certain things about myself that I'm never going to come to my head. It's not going to social media. It's my private life. I don't want it out there. Regardless of your case, is even you're married. Me, whether you put gun for my head, I know they put it out there, because it's not something that I want. I want people to know about me. But yeah, we increasingly have two most interesting things that I see in the content creation space. Is the first is wanting to put out everything about your life. Oh, guys, this is me. I've just woke up. This is me. I've just done this. And you find out that people just putting everything out there. And then the other second side, which I think is something I also had to sit myself down, was the boundaries for how far I am willing to go to get an attention, if that makes sense. If I'm willing to tell a lie, if I'm willing to fake something, if I'm willing to go on social media and go and impress some people because I wanted to get the views or because I wanted to sound cool or something. Is that something you've ever faced at some point in your journey, and how did you deal with that decision?
I think mine is kind of like a little bit different, only because like when I niched down a lot to like just DIYs, at some point I even stopped showing my face in my videos. Like right now, my videos, I just get my nails done because that's like the focal point in my videos right now. Like what I'm doing. Everyone wants to focus on what I'm doing. Before I'll do like an intro and I'll play like a twin. So there was a time people thought I was a twin because I'll do like a split of me talking to myself, like vice versa. Which a lot of people liked that concept. I'm thinking I'm going to carry that to my second channel anyways. But anyways, over time, I just focused on just what I was doing because, like I said from the beginning, YouTube changes a lot. So, and sometimes people don't like when you kind of stall. Everyone can see it. When you're stalling in a video and not going straight to the point of what that video is telling on the thumbnail or your title, you have a lot of people drop off. So looking at my analytics, I just started straight to the point and not doing a lot of intros and anything like that because it's not a vlog. It's not a lifestyle kind of thing. So I'm like, go into it. But on the other channel, I still try to do that. So as per blurred lines and all of that, what to share and what not to share, there's a lot of things that I know that I will not do or say. For me, it's you either get the views or you don't get the views. Like you can't force content and genuinely put valuable content, put it that way, because people claim anything is content or everything is content. I don't think everything is content. As much as yes, because it's up to the individual because people think like, oh, you can say a lie, whatever, it's a content, it's still content. Or if you do whatever, you can like go online and insult or talk bad about someone because that's what people want gossip and stuff like that. I don't think that those, for me, that's where I draw the line. I will not go online to bash someone. I will not go online. There's certain topics that I will not go online to argue about. I don't want to list them out here, but I find them very controversial that you will not just see me in the comment section or wherever those kind of topics, because my belief is that people tend to argue a lot with their emotions when it comes to certain topics. So I just stay clear of them. And not even like for me, I know what I believe in, I know what I carry.
And there's no need to prove a point.
Exactly. You just said it. So I'm not coming out to like, okay, this is my stand. My stand is the higher ground. Yours is the lower ground. Or you will not find me going banter. There are a lot of things that I will not do online for content. For me, my belief with regards to content is if it's valuable. I like long write-ups. Like that's how I found your page. I was like, this guy writes a lot of insightful things. Like the first time I remember reading one of them, I'm like, who is this person? Like I was like going through, I went back and started checking all the articles that you write and how you will hook your audience in. I'm like, this is interesting. I'm like, wait, and he's in Cameroon. I was like, this is good, because I honestly thought that you were so like in the States out of the country, because most times content creators from Cameroon is just during that the few that I had seen online were either they battering each other or fighting and stuff. So when I find a blog that is all about positivity and stuff, I'm drawn to it, because me, I'm so big about mental space, and that is why I say not all content is content, because what we consume matters a lot. So if it's not add value to my life, it's not giving me peace of mind, I have no business with it. So for me, there are a lot of things that I know that I will not cross the line with, even with brands. That's certain brands that will reach out to me if I know, okay, this brand stands for this, and these are not my values, then I have no business working with them. Doesn't matter how much you're going to pay me. But I'm not going to come out in public and say something that I know deep down in my heart I don't believe it or I don't stand for it, because then I'm lying to my audience. And that's one thing, just like digressing, that's one thing that I've been on with regards to brands as well. Like even the ones that are good, like if a brand sends me, I've actually paid a brand back money because I reached out to them. They reached out and then they sent products for me to use, review, and then talk about it. Use the product, I didn't get any results. I'm like, I have no business going to tell my audience like, hey, this works, blah 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 blah, when I know that it didn't work for me. So I was like, I'm sorry, this is how this is going right now. How much was the cost of this? Because I know I used it, but this is what's I'm gonna have to pay you back. And she was like, okay. She said, give me the cost, and I sent her the money, because for me, I was like, I'm not going to tell people to buy something that do not work for me. So still, it's just, so I just want my audience to build that trust with me, knowing like, okay, if I'm coming out to say that I use this item, or especially with regards to product that we have to use on our skin or hair or whatever, I'm actually saying that this thing works because it actually did also work. So I saw some kind of difference.
I really love that. I love what you said. And I think that most of the things you're saying, I totally just relate, because these are conversations that I've sat down, had with myself. For example, when we were starting the podcast, I said to and this is just literally a few weeks ago, I said to my team, I say, if this brand comes to ever advertise on this podcast, I'm saying no. I listed to them, I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like, that's not who I want to advertise. Even if they come, no matter the amount of money, we're happy, we're good, it's okay, thanks. And they're like, we're just starting, you're saying all of this. I said, no, it's okay. I'm just setting my standards immediately. So hearing you say that, I think it just enforces a lot in my mind. And thank you for sharing. Let's talk about I want to talk about CPMs and someone who is creating content. You started talking about it when you said, for example, someone who is creating content for like food, and you were doing Cameroonian foods. So if you were to speak to someone creating content right now from Cameroon on YouTube on how they could transition their content and kind of get a higher CPM, or what would you think is the best approach to that? And even someone just starting out and they're like, if I keep creating Cameroonian content, for example, Cameroonian gist, and you know that not everybody is going to come and watch, only Cameroonians will watch Cameroonian gist, which means that that's like lower CPM. You might never get paid any substantial fee from YouTube, or even it will take longer to monetize. Yeah.
Well, with regards to that particular example that you just gave, I can see how that could be lower, especially if your audience is majorly Cameroonian, just because YouTube, unfortunately, is still lagging in a lot of underdeveloped countries, and Cameroon happened to be one of them. So the RPM and CPM, the CPM actually varies depending on the country from which your audience is watching. So some countries have really, really high CPM. By CPM, we make clicks per mil. So how much you get paid per 1,000 views, right?
Okay.
So some countries have extremely low CPMs, and Cameroon happens to be one of them. And then some countries have really high CPMs, which is what you want to get. So if your niche, if your content is about Cameroon news, of course, Cameroonians are going to be watching it, so your CPM is going to be low. So yes, your pay may be low, so yes, you will need a lot more views to actually really get some substantial amount of pay. If you have Cameroonians in the diaspora that are interested in your content as well, that is also a good thing for you, because they're Cameroonians, but they're not watching from Cameroon. So that will vary, because it's all about the geographical location of the person that's watching, right? So for someone from Cameroon we have a Cameroonian YouTubers group, which I'm actually proud of, on WhatsApp, where we have Cameroonians from the diaspora and Cameroonians back home doing YouTube. And there are a few good ones, like really good ones there, that they're doing content. And one that also really stands out to me, but the ones that I noticed actually that are really doing extremely well from Cameroon, their audience is not majorly Cameroonians, like as Cameroonians back home. They have Cameroonians in the diaspora, and it does travel content. She goes to other African countries that are also way bigger, and they also happens to garner that attention as well. So for Cameroonians that are in Cameroon looking to doing YouTube, I'd say to just figure out what your niche is, like what you want to share. If it's universal, that's good. Even if it's just Cameroonians watching, I believe things can change down the line. Like, it's always going to be like this. Other countries have been added into the YouTube program over time, because Cameroon is still like, we're a small country. A lot of other factors are coming into play, which is kind of like hindering it. I know that it is difficult being a YouTuber in Cameroon. That I'm not even going to take away from those that are really trying from back home. So but what I always still say is, if your content is evergreen as in content that 10 years from today, someone will need to still find how to put a screw on a chair or the sofa, whatever, I go search that up, and it will come up, because people are always looking for help. Something that helps to solve a problem, and not just within Cameroon, but also outside Cameroon. Then yes, you have you obviously stand a better chance of making way more and also growing your audience way faster. But if you're just like, okay, life in Cameroon is actually a good. I have YouTuber friends that are actually doing vlogging in Cameroon, and it's really good. I like to watch that. But of course, we believe that mostly Cameroonians will be interested in that only. But you find other African countries like, okay, I'm kind of curious, how is it like to live in Cameroon? And if you have all that on your channel, someone can find it interesting and subscribe to it. But again, when you start niching down, of course, that's where you kind of like narrow your options. You don't have any choice. You can't do everything, no doubt. But I would just say, just put out what you have in you, and your tribe will find you. I'll see your vibe will find your tribe. So just put it out there. Like people who have posted on YouTube just because of their personality, and they just have like 1 million followers. There's this girl that I follow. She's Nigerian, but she's in the States, and she basically was just put a camera and sit, and she just does like reaction videos to some TikTok videos. The way she is, she's very likable. So she has like millions of subscribers because of her personality. I know some people can argue that, okay, maybe it's where she is and all of that, but still, I know a Cameroonian YouTuber that is doing really well in the vlogging sphere, Mutumbo Daily. She is amazing. And her editing style, like, you need to check her out. She is so good. And it's just your personality, how you're presenting, you're making sure you're putting out top quality. You're not just quickly shooting a video and just like, I just have to upload it before uploading sick kind of thing. Or like you can see that she puts in the work, like in her videos. And it's paying back. Like, she gets the views as well. Like, it's really good. So I like to see that. So it still boils down to content. What you have to, it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in Cameroon or out of Cameroon, it still boils down to content, and just trying to find different ways to like make your content more. Not all content is going to be evergreen, no doubt. You can always alternate. So the ones that are not evergreen, just put your best in it. Basically, it's going to show through. That's all I have to say. I don't know how I can tell someone to be like, okay, I don't know what the person's content is for me to make a suggestion. Like, okay, maybe you should try it this way or try something like this so that it stands out better. It's easier to give that the best, but giving you on the general scale of things right now, not knowing exactly which video idea it will be is kind of hard. But just trying to just put your best foot forward with each video.
What's up, guys? Very quick one before you keep watching the rest of the video. So we have just announced the launch of the Smart Club, which is my private mentorship club for anyone who wants to learn a high income digital marketing skill. So I just wanted to have a quick break to tell you about it. 12 plus digital marketing skills that you can learn from, whether you're building your personal brand, whether you want to become a freelancer, a service provider, or your goal is to learn that digital marketing skill and land a digital marketing job. 12 plus digital marketing skills, and I'm personally going to mentor you for the next couple of months every week through my live master classes and everything like that. And so I just wanted to break here and ask you to go check it out. Down in the description, there's going to be a link. Go check it out and make sure that you enroll in the club before you continue watching the rest of the video. I look forward to seeing you on your very first club session.
Really interesting. So I have some quick questions I want to ask you, and just to kind of get your ideas on it. So, do hashtags matter on YouTube?
It used to. Let me start like that. And then again, I'm still going to circle back to the start of this video where I was telling you how things change very fast. And every year, hashtag used to be a whole thing on YouTube. It's like, oh, fill in your description box. And that is the thing with YouTube. Sometimes you feel like, oh, I think I've gotten a hang of it. And in the next video, you're like, okay, I'm not sure, because they're like, make sure you have 5,000 characters to complete in your description box. That is where you want to put your hashtags at the bottom, whatever it appears at the end of the video. Some argue hashtags work, some say no, hashtags do not work. Some like, oh, thumbnails, oh, title. But of course, I know the major ones are title and thumbnails. Titles and thumbnails, yes. Those are two major ones, because like I said, your thumbnail is like the key to your house. Like,
yeah, please just talk about that. I think that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, so but with hashtags, they used to matter. They used to say it matters, but right now, I've had videos that I've done really well that did not have any hashtags. So I can't really argue for or against hashtags. That's the problem now. But I still believe that somehow, somewhere, it adds to the metadata that you don't want to miss out. It doesn't hurt to put it in there. That's my my conclusion with those things, because we're like, I'm not sure it works. I'm like, the only way to find out is to not just just put it in there. If it doesn't work, fine. If it works, then good, you did it. But if you don't do it at all and it doesn't work, you don't know if it's because you did not try the hashtags or not. So I can't really say for sure, but I know that there's this thing, YouTube creators. It's a whole channel where they YouTube kind of like they share videos on new updates and everything. And I know that said on there that hashtags right now is like in the middle, because with the coming of shorts, they still ask you to put the hashtags, which also did help. But I've had some shorts that do well without me.
I looked at your shorts right now and I see that you just do hashtag shorts.
They said that's what they said at that time, to like make sure you put in hashtag shorts. And then hashtag shorts is showing that it has like millions of usage like that. And then you're also told don't use hashtags that have over millions of usage, like, because everyone is using it. So finally you're like, okay, where do I stand? Should I use or should I not use it? So I can't really tell exactly. So my advice would just be, if it's there for you to use it and it doesn't hurt to use it, use it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Best practices for YouTube titles.
Oh, I still struggle with that because I change my title from time to time. Like, because for me, it's not like once you've uploaded a video, you just wash your hand and you move on. No. I'll give you an example. That was something that happened to, I think, about my 4th or 5th video. I posted a DIY, and I felt like I put my heart in this one. And of course, you want people to see a video that you've, committed to. And the thumbnail at that time sucked, which I thought it was bomb then. So I put the thumbnail. I liked it, like uniformity. So I was like, it was so hard for me to want to ban from like changing a thumbnail on particular videos, when every other video is like, if you look at the thumbnail, like, oh, that's Nora's thumbnail, because I tried to make all of them to be somehow uniform. If it's not the font, if it's the color or something of that sort. At that time, I was going by color. And I posted this video, and the click-through rate was so low. On average, YouTube says that anything over 2% is good. Higher, way better. I checked this video. The average view duration, people were watching it for longer, but the click-through rate was like under 2%, was 1 point something. And I'm like, and then the good thing with YouTube analytics, it will tell you what you could do. It's like, okay, your click-through rate is really low. Sometimes they recommend for people to switch their thumbnail, because it means that a lot of people are not clicking on the thumbnail. They're not finding the thumbnail attractive enough to click on it. But ones that actually do click on it actually love the video, so they're watching it for longer. I'm like, makes sense why the view duration is long, but then the click-through rate, the views were low. So I was like, you know what? I talked to my friend Precious, and she was like, you know what, you could play around with the thumbnail, you could change it. And I was feeling so stubborn. I'm very stubborn. I was like, I really don't want to change the thumbnail, because it means I have to change the thumbnail for all the other ones too, because I want them to be uniform. I don't want it to be different. So I thought about it hard enough, and then I was like, you know what? I went ahead and changed the thumbnail, designed a different one, took off, because I used to have like split, and then I'll have the item that I did on the side and then text on the other side. So I took off the text completely, did just what I have done on there, and then put the text overhead, like a banner kind of way. So I uploaded it, and then I think I gave it like about 3 to 5 days. I came up went in to check, and before I even went in to check, I uploaded, and then I forgot about it. And then I just noticed, like, this video, the views were packing up. I was like, what's going on? This video is beginning to blow up, or what's? So I went to the dashboard to check, and I saw that the click-through had gone up to like 6 point something. I was like, started checking all my other videos. I was like, okay, let me start checking. So ever since that experience has made, even now, from time to time, and I'll go back and see why a video is not performing okay, and then I try to like play around with the title or switch the thumbnail. With regards to title and your question, like I said, I still struggle with that. So I always say that it's a continuous learning process. Be stoic and just feel like, okay, I'm not changing anything. I just want to stay in this box. Like, be flexible to like, okay, play around with wording, play around with, check other people in the same niches. You see what's working for them and try to play. But I also noticed that titles will vary with the niche, because you vary with the niche. In the DIY niche, you basically, people want to see before and after. People want to see what you used, what is it that you did that made this transformation. And in the vlogging niche, it's going to be different. In the food niche, it's going to be different. So it just boils down to like still checking out the people, follow creators in your niche and see how they're doing things, and not like typically copy what they're doing, of course not, but see where you can actually use some of what they're doing to add to what you already have and see how that can work for you.
Right.
So
what would be your best practice for thumbnails?
our best practice for thumbnail is just
Attention.
loud, like bold, like well, it still boils down to niche again too, right? So thumbnails, like for DIY, I noticed that sometimes I would not put the final product on the thumbnail. I'll just put what I use. I'll be like, okay, I have this video that I just posted. Excuse me, I just posted thumbtacks that we use in the office, and just be like, okay, look what she did with thumbtacks. Like, oh wow, she made this. Like, so people are curious. They're like,
Curiosity, yeah.
what DIY did she actually make using just this thumbtacks? Or post like cardboard boxes or carton boxes, and be like, she made 8 DIYs using just carton boxes. And so you want to see what's there. But other times that will not work, because and that's where the switching from time to time will come into play. Sometimes people want to see the before and after. So sometimes I'll post like this was the vase transformation that I did. The original vases was like some orange color and stuff. So put the vase and then put the finished work, and then you maybe show an arrow saying, okay, she transformed from this to this. So sometimes it gets people curious. It's like, how did you make this to look like this from this? And they want to
the process.
Yeah. And other times I don't even put the before. I just put the finished work, and people are okay, someone actually made this. I really want to see how you made this. So because people have to always do review that. So I'm always bouncing ideas off of my husband. I'm like, he's like my first audience. So when I do a thumbnail, I always do like 4, and I'll show him. I'll send them to him. If he's not at home, I'll send them to his WhatsApp, like, which one screams out to you? And then he will reply. And then I'll do the same thing with my sisters. And most of the time, the ones they tend to pick up the same thing. And the one that I felt like, oh, I really like, is not the one that they will pick. So I find my general saying here is like, thumbnails, it's not about what you like. You have to start trying to see through the eyes of your audience, because I do not like to post just the raw material as thumbnail, because I just find it like very lacking. I'm like, there's no style, it's just bleh. But I want to post the final work, which is looking nice and glamorous and everything. But another person is like, if you've posted it, we've really seen what you've done now. But then because you are not the ones you're not making a video for you. So so you want to bounce it off with the people around you sometimes, and then see what works. And sometimes that would not also work, and you may have to change it again. So it's just to stay flexible and teachable. Yeah.
Right. What about the length of videos? Now, I'm asking this for 2 reasons. Number one, I know that when people start off, and I know that maybe a good advice would be to start off with not very long videos, so that you can carry through. But also on the flip side of it, like for channels that have been monetized, which I hear a lot of people talk about, that you want to make, let's say, videos that are 9 minutes, so that you can have about 2 ads running between, or what does it look like there? Talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old just asking a question.
Well, with video length, I know for a fact that YouTube loves and prioritizes long videos. They like long videos. All these platforms, they like the idea of you keeping people on their platform for longer. So if you have a long video, of course, that's a bingo for them. But also, yes, for someone starting out, long videos definitely will help you, because not everyone is watching your video to the end. So on average, if you do a 10 minutes video, a good average view duration could be maybe people are watching it for like 3 minutes. If it's too good, 4 or 5 minutes. That's really good if they're watching it for up to 5. So if you have like a 20 minutes video and people are watching it for up to 8 minutes, that's good, because that's how you your watch hours. Because if you're doing too many short videos and you're doing like 4 or 5 minutes videos, people are watching for like 1 minute, 30 seconds. So it will take you a longer time just to get monetized. But also, don't do long videos for long video's sake. If you're doing a long video, let it be a long video that people want to actually sit and watch through. Let it be like people can tell when you're stalling. If you're doing a long video and you're really dragging, and it's like, you're going to get...
That angers them.
Yeah. No, not only drop off. The next time you post another long video, just be like, we already know what that's going to be and stuff like that. But if it's a long video that is like exciting, it has a lot of things that is like bam, 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 even people are not watching it to the end, people can pause and come and continue again afterwards because they know that, okay, this thing actually has something going on inside. Like, I used to be very particular about not wanting the video to be too long. Like, it would take me 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes to shoot a DIY, and I have to summarize this DIY into like just 10 minutes. It will pain me because I'm like, I put a lot of work in this thing. But I have to be mindful of my audience. So I try to listen from my audience feedback, because sometimes I'll try to like, okay, do them speed up some parts, and then other parts I'll just jump cut, do love jump cuts, and I'll get feedback from like, oh, we really want to see every step. Okay, I'll do another video, it'll be longer. I'm actually showing every step and taking my time. And then they have another people in the audience complaining, it's too slow. I'm like, okay, fine, there's no middle way here. So what if I started doing like, okay, I try to find a middle ground, like up to videos alternating, trying to fit their style. And I always also tell them like, YouTube has an option for you to watch 2 times speed. If you feel like it's too slow for you, you can watch it 2 times speed. If you feel like it's still too fast for you, then you can slow down the speed. I'm like, okay, you could use that as well. And yes, after you get monetized, of course, longer videos will pay you more, to be honest, especially if it's worth it. As in the content in it is like really. So I saw that other people in my niche were like doing compilations of like some of their other videos. And they have a 2-hour-long DIY video. I'm like, who is sitting and watching a 2-hour-long DIY video? But then I was like, you know what? Let me try this thing. I tried it the first time, I think December 2021 or so. I compared a bunch of my videos. It was like an hour long, and I'm thinking, this thing is too long. People may not receive. Let me just try put it out there. That video blow up. And ever since other compilations as like 1 hour something long, and all of the long videos, people watch them for long. And of course, the revenue from those ones are way higher than your regular 10, 20, 15 minutes videos. So so you want to play around like that. Again, I'm talking from my point of view as a DIY decor niche. It's going to vary with other niches like vlogging and food. You don't want to drag too much with food videos, obviously. So
which I think anyone can watch this and still apply to their niche, because that's very helpful content.
Yeah, even for content, you can do like top 10 Cameroon dishes that you saw and do a whole compilations as well, a whole compilation. Exactly. So yeah, they're like, there's a lot to be done that you can actually do. Yeah.
What's up, guys? Very quick one before you keep watching the rest of the video. So we have just announced the launch of the Smart Club, which is my private mentorship club for anyone who wants to learn a high-income digital marketing skill. So I just wanted to have a quick break to tell you about it. 12 plus digital marketing skills that you can learn from, whether you're building your personal brand, whether you want to become a freelancer, a service provider, or your goal is to learn that digital marketing skill and land a digital marketing job. 12 plus digital marketing skills, and I'm personally going to mentor you for the next couple of months every week through my live masterclasses and everything like that. And so I just wanted to break here and ask you to go check it out. Down in the description, there's going to be a link. Go check it out and make sure that you enroll in the club before you continue watching the rest of the video. I look forward to seeing you on your very first club session.
What is a good SEO strategy for YouTube for a beginner? What are some of the boxes you want they might want to check?
That's a good question, and also almost difficult one for me to answer. But when I started, what I would do was I would share my videos on all my socials. Wherever I will share that video. So I will share the link on my WhatsApp, on my Facebook page, on my Instagram, and just, put it out there. I even started sharing on my Twitter, but I was not that active on Twitter like that then even. I was like, you know what, this is dry. Twitter was kind of dry, but I was focusing on all the other platforms. But for me, I feel like not everyone is going to click on the links to come to YouTube to watch. Obviously, you're not putting it for everyone to click on it at the same time, but just having it out there also, because in the analytics, you'll be able to see external links. You'll say, oh, WhatsApp, you had this percentage from there and all of that. And as people click and come to watch them, I feel like it boosts the YouTube algorithm kind of, if people are more interested in it, the YouTube algorithm starts to push the video even further. Okay, it means people are showing interest in this video. So with SEO, I can't really say for sure, but I will say definitely not leaving your description box empty, because your description box, whatever you write in there, just make sure you're using the keywords for what you want people to find your video for, and then make it sense somehow. They give us 5,000 characters for a reason. But again, this is another thing that a lot of people argue that, I've seen people do not put anything in the description box at all and the videos blow up. I've seen that happen. Again, it's just like with the hashtags. I would say it doesn't hurt to put it in there. Even if it means you just having something that you've already, written out that you can just copy and paste and then you adjust according to the video. Do it. Don't just leave it blank. You just never know. Yeah. So with SEO, I know title and thumbnail is still what I'm still going to hit on a lot. And tags, I also hear that I don't leave my tags blank at all. But when I started tags, title, and thumbnail, I called them the 3 T's, where like the major thing.
Title, tags, thumbnails.
Yes.
Okay.
So like you want to have good eye-catching title. Your thumbnail wants to be, really stand out. And then your tags, just researching tags that you can go to the search box and try to research, play around with words, how people may try to find your video and then add them in the tags and all of that. And again, these are things that YouTube is saying that they've changed over time. It doesn't hold a lot of weight anymore, but I believe that it adds to the metadata.
Right.
Overall scheme of things. So it doesn't hurt to put it in there. It's extra work, but it doesn't hurt to put it in there.
Right. I'm going to ask this one for someone who is seated right now in their house and watching this video. If I'm starting a YouTube channel in 2024, what are my chances of succeeding?
The chances of succeeding, I wish I had superpowers I could say, but as it's dependent on a lot of things. And I would like to say chances of succeeding 100%, but that would be me. That'll be me being very daring. And I would say, and being very daring because again, it depends on a lot of things. And one of those things is content and consistency. What you have to give out there, is it going to be helping some kind of need? Is it going to be solving some kind of a problem? Is it going to be entertaining? Is it going to be enlightening people? Is it going to be educative? Like, what is it going to bring? Is it like, it should be one of those 3 E's at least. To entertain or educate, and then consistency, because you could have the content, but I going to be showing up. How often are you going to be showing up to make sure that it works? So the chances of succeeding, again, it depends on the individual and how badly they want to succeed, because I believe it's doable. So I know a lot of people that have a lot to offer, but they just do not have the time to be consistent. And they've acknowledged that. They're like, I know I'm not going to be consistent, but I know if this person actually sits and makes a schedule and say, okay, I'm going to be posting this, I'll be consistent, and I'm going to drop all of what I know that they're definitely going to blow up. But it boils down to consistency. The people that have blown up on YouTube that have been consistent, and it's not because your content is all that. They just post funny videos and look like gamers. They're there and they play games. They're consistently there. So you see gamers actually getting million subscribers and all of that. They're just playing game. They're just showing up. Yeah. So it's just showing up consistently is like the major key. Yeah. Whether or not your content is bomb, you want to show up.
Right. Should I quit my job to start YouTube? Yes or no?
No. That's a quick no first, because I haven't done so yet myself. So I'm not going to tell someone to do that. So as much as YouTube is good, and there are people, I know people like, okay, in 2022, I happened to have set for the YouTube Black Voices, which was like the turning point for me and YouTube, like my YouTube life. Like that was like a reiteration, like, okay, Nora, you were supposed to be doing this.
I think that was among the top 135.
Yeah, 136.
Yeah.
So I was like, it felt like a stamp of like, okay, you should be doing this, because I as much as I was staying consistent, there's some points that I feel like, okay, you're questioning yourself a lot. Yes, 80% positive, 20% doubt, and all of that. And I felt like this kind of like was telling me, okay, stay consistent. This thing, you can do this. If someone has gone through your channel, they've reviewed everything, using a fine comb, and they came out and said, yes, we want you to be part of this thing. And I was okay, that I cried when they gave me a call, because when I applied for the thing, I forgot about it. Like, it's a friend of mine that sent me the link, Bandy Kiki. She sent me the link, and I didn't even know about it. And she was like, Nora, she was like, make sure you apply, like, just jokingly. And I was like, no, well, let me just open this thing and just take my time. I was like, I didn't have a lot to do then, so I just then opened it on my computer, and then I filled it. Well, it was like in June. I forgot about it completely, and then I saw an email, action required, and it was like YouTube was. I'm like, wait a minute. I was in the car going to print out some stuff to come and do DIY, and I kind of like, when I read the entire email, I broke down, but I didn't even know the full scope of it, even at that time, when I was still, oh, this is actually going to be happening. So when I came back home, I showed my husband. That is when I even told my husband I applied for something, because I did not tell him, because in my mind, it's like one of those things like, nothing happens. So I did not even tell him about it, because I never know fully, like the full scope of it. It's until that happened, and I came home and I showed him. And I sat there like I'm like frozen. He's the one that's like looking online on Google and researching about it. I'm like, is this how this thing was? I was just like confused, but yeah, it was a good life-changing experience. So, but in spite that, like because of that situation and where I'm driving at, is because of that situation, I was able to meet other YouTubers when we went for like a graduation thing. They us all together and stuff, and I saw many YouTubers that were earning like. Before I was like, I know people that are earning like 5,000, 10,000 per month, 20,000. I met people that are earning like 50K, 100K per month USD, and I'm like, and all this thing was like, I started from somewhere before. I used to just have like also just like maybe 2,000, 3,000 as well. Then it went to like 5,000, but that doesn't happen overnight. And the more videos you have out there, the more eyeballs on the videos, the more money you get. So if you're not making content, you're not putting anything out there, of course, then how do you want to get paid? Yes, you may have a few videos blow up, but they're not always, it's not always going to be like that. So if you stop, you're not as consistent, then your income is going to suffer. So the thing is, why I would not tell someone to quit their job when they start YouTube is that you want to grow most of them there were a few that actually just like, okay, life circumstances, they just started YouTube and then they left your work and decided I want to focus, and they succeeded. Some have had to go back to getting work, getting a job because it didn't work out well for them. But majority of them will tell you, and I'm also saying the same thing because I still have my job, is that you want to build up to a certain point where you feel like, okay, I feel like this is sustainable. Even if I'm not working, I can actually, like, I can rely heavily on this and it will work. It'll be fine for me. And with me right now, I feel like but then again, I feel like my YouTube is kind of suffering because I keep telling my husband, I feel like if I wasn't working, I'll be able to put out more than one video per week, which will obviously mean better for me. So right now I have to do both of them almost like, half and half. Exactly. So it's not doing my YouTube channel justice. But at the same time, I also know, like, okay, just keep going that pace. You're seeing your trajectory, you're seeing how much you're making and all those kind of things. And then you can wait over time and say, okay, is it worth it for me to keep at this or to focus 100% or 150% on this and see where it leads me? But don't quit when you just get started. Like, start and then see where it's taking you. See if the money you're making from it is reasonable. Like we talked about CPM, it varies with every niche. There's some niche that have really, really low CPM, and then some niches really high. Finance niche is one of them. Like so that you can have the person may have just 5,000 subscribers and they can quit their job because they're getting maybe even just 10,000 views per videos, but the amount of pay they're getting from that is a lot compared to someone maybe in the food niche or fashion beauty niche. They tend to have typically lower CPMs, and like they have 1 million subscribers, but they're barely making up to $2,000 per month. So so you want to check all of that box. Like, don't just throw in the towel. Maybe if they fired you and you're working on that, that's different. But they don't deliberately get up and say, okay, my village people are on my head, let me leave my work and focus on YouTube. Don't do that. Don't do that. So I would not recommend it from the start. I would say to you want to have a good gauge of things first before.
We've talked a lot about monetization almost all through the video, but what do you think that what do you think anyone starting out or anyone just heading towards monetization should know at this point?
I would say it's exciting to know that you're getting monetized, no doubt. But what I would say is that keep your expectations at okay, like not because I've seen people get disappointed when they got monetized and they're expecting that they'll start making this, plenty money at once. So YouTube, it doesn't work like that. With some niches, that's the thing too. You may be fortunate and your first paycheck comes in and you're like, whoa, and it fires you up. Other people get your first paycheck and it discourages them and they don't continue. I've seen that happen with some people. Yeah, they get their first paycheck and they're like, is this it? Why am I killing myself here? So you want to check that aspect of things. But with monetization, it feels good to know that your work is being rewarded somehow. So to just not try to make, like, it may be hard for some people, but to not just try not to keep in your head like, okay, I'm doing YouTube for the money, because it will fluctuate. It will definitely fluctuate from month to month. The income will fluctuate, but that should not spare you. It should not be what is supposed to be directing you on what to do and what not to do on YouTube. Like, again, it boils down to, again, to your why. The people that started making money on YouTube even before they got monetized because brands will reach out to them, and that will work with them as well. But so it's still just like YouTube, just like every other job, is tasking. It is very tasking. And if you don't enjoy doing it, you'll get tired at some point. And with it being a sole proprietorship, technically, because it's just you, you can easily just throw it away after all. Nobody is like, you're not accountable to anybody. It's like, nobody, my house come and beat me. I'm not going to post a video. So, but if it's something, and I also, there's a fine line with that as well, because burnout is for real. Because you can actually get burnout, like trying to, okay, I want to make sure that I'm just, you just keep going like a ham on a, how do you call them, a hamster on a wheel. Just keep going, and then you find yourself like feeling so mentally exhausted because you're trying to please your audience, you're trying to do that, to this. Just keep your pace. I still just say, like, do what you have to do. Give yourself a lot of grace and don't beat yourself up a lot. Like, not all of your videos are going to flop. There's going to be videos that are going to really do well. There's some that are going to flop, but don't delete them. Still just keep going, because one thing with YouTube is you never know. There are videos that you feel like, it's not doing anything, and all of a sudden it just picks up and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. So, and if you need to take a break, take a break. Don't feel like you just have to keep going all the time. But again, still, everybody looks forward to getting monetized on YouTube when it gets started. But just try not to pressure yourself about it so much so that it's like a be all and of things that when you get monetized now you start feeling like maybe underwhelmed because it's not what you expected. Yeah. So
I want us to do a little summary for those who are watching this. If we were to map out a small route for anyone starting out on YouTube to get going from 0 to 1,000 subscribers, talk to someone how they could just achieve that in maybe in a few lines or in some short steps.
Well, this will be reiterating what we already spoken about in the video. So for someone looking to hitting, like, you're getting the requirements to getting monetized, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. First things first, what is your content? What are you looking to put out there? What do you have to offer? And do you know what your niche is? If you're not sure what your niche is, but you just know what you want to put out there and you know that it's going to resonate with a couple of people. So now that you have this content, how do you want to present it? You want to have a written plan. I don't know if you type on your phone, you write out like me, but at least the whole bullet points of, like, write it out. How often do you want to post? Frequencies and that some people post every 3 days, some every 2 to 3 days, some every week, some certain people like Casey Neistat. I don't know if you know this about this guy. He's an American. He posts like once a month, but his videos are like he's gotten to that level where he can do that, right? But you starting out trying to get monetized, I will not recommend posting once a month as a frequency for you. But yeah, you want to be at least once a week, so that in the month you have at least 4 videos. The more videos that you have out there, the better for you. Your first couple of videos will likely suck, and that's fine. Nobody starts off perfect. Sometimes I watch my first video and I'm like, I thought I was killing it. So yeah, but then again, and other times you feel like, maybe I should go and put this video to private. But I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna put anything to private. I always say that I'm not embarrassed of failure, because
Right.
I'm not, because I believe that my whole belief with that is that I know I can never lose. That's
Ooh.
you lose when you quit. Final thing I would say here is that no matter what you do, when you go left or you go right, people always have something to say. So
True.
just do it anyway. If you are going to start a YouTube channel and you're wondering what people will say, you don't start it. People will say other things that you have going on in your life. Post your YouTube video. And yeah, not just YouTube, content creation as a whole.
True.
But
Yeah.
of course, like we had talked about with like the blurred lines and stuff. So you just want to make sure that what you're putting out there, of course, resonates, makes sense, and you're not coming embarrassing your family. Embarrassing your family on the internet because you want to come and lie and gain views and all of that. But then again, that could be some other person's cup of tea. It's just not mine. But my advice to someone that's serious and is looking to get started with content creating is just get started. Don't have your ducks in a row. You will never have them all in a row. At least minimum, have what you want to present, lay it out and say, okay, I'm starting on this day. You may not even have a start date. Like I actually deliberately wrote down mine because I'd edited the videos and I knew how I wanted to schedule it out.
What's up, guys? Very quick one before you keep watching the rest of the video. So we have just announced the launch of the Smart Club, which is my private mentorship club for anyone who wants to learn a high income digital marketing skill. So I just wanted to have a quick break to tell you about it. 12 plus digital marketing skills that you can learn from, whether you're building your personal brand, whether you want to become a freelancer, a service provider, or your goal is to learn that digital marketing skill and land a digital marketing job. 12 plus digital marketing skills, and I'm personally going to mentor you for the next couple of months every week through my live master classes and everything like that. And so I just wanted to break here and ask you to go check it out. Down in the description there's going to be a link. Go check it out and make sure that you enroll in the club before you continue watching the rest of the video. I look forward to seeing you on your very first club session.
I think that's very yeah. I think a nutshell of what you're saying is that a lot of the things open up as you go on the journey. So your job is to figure out what the first video is about.
Right. And stay consistent after that, because that's a big thing. Don't post January 1st and then you just stay and then come back like March 31st and post another video and then you're like, I don't know what's happening. Are you doing everything? And that's some genuine questions I've had to ask some of my YouTube friends when they're like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, like this is not going left and all of that. And I go and check, because sometimes we'll do like channel reviews in the Cameroonian YouTube group I told you about, and I'll go take a look at the channel, and the last time the person posted is showing like you posted last like 6 weeks ago. If I see an interesting video on your channel and I want to subscribe, and I went and see your last post was like 6, why do I want to subscribe? You want anything that can set you apart, do it.
We're going to try. I made a promise to the team that we want to see how the year is going to go. We'll try as much as possible, even if it means, by all means, yes, I would say that. I'll feed off your energy right now. Go back and I go on.
They're already doing amazing. Seriously, like I don't even know what to say. As for advice, because I'm like, what else can I say? You're already consistent. I was like, be more consistent. I
will. I'll feed off. The last question we always ask guests on the podcast, which is a very funny question though, but when all is said and done, how do you want to be remembered as Nora J?
But for me, that's a very quick and easy question to do. When all is said and done, I always just want to be remembered as a very positive, vibrant person that lived her life to the fullest. I like to be that kind of person that, okay, if I'm meeting someone for the first time, or we're meeting out for coffee, or we're staying together or not, and I just want to be like your peace of mind, if I can. The best way that I can be. Not by trying to fake it or anything, but just living and enjoying life, because my belief is that this life is shorter than we think. Oh, even if you're going to live to 80, that time passes by so fast, and not all of us are guaranteed that either. So I'm like, why waste time trying to worry on trying to fix things or worrying about things that we have no control over, as opposed to actually just living the moment and basically just enjoying this gift of life. So with that said, my motto is just like just trying to be intentionally positive, living intentionally, and just trying to be, make the people around you comfortable if you can, your best way possible, knowing that you've done your best. So if anybody is having any kind of animosity towards you, you know that you put your best foot forward, you did your best. That's just it. We're humans. Yeah. But you know deep down within you that you're actually making that effort to be in good terms with everyone, to be positive, to be a light in some way, and not actually going out of your way to just make someone's life miserable, basically. Yeah. So that's just it for me.
Right. Nora, I want to thank you for sharing so generously. Because I think one of the things that I've loved about the conversation is that although it's centered around YouTube, for anyone who watches this will probably pick out some nuggets that they can start to apply to their life, be it from the consistency to discipline to the intentionality, which I think is a very big theme that has run up across most of the things we've talked about. So thank you for sharing that energy with us. I like your energy, actually. Always smiling. Always just smiling. So, it makes
I get that a lot. I
easy
actually
to
had
talk
an
to you.
older guy at work tell me one time, like, he was like, is it normal for someone to always be happy like that? It's not normal.
Yeah.
It's an older white guy that said that to me. He was like, it's not normal. Like, you just feel like it's not normal. I was like, that something is wrong with me. I started laughing. I was like, he just does not get it because it's, but it's not like I don't get upset. I do get upset. I do cry a lot. Newsflash. But I just try not to stay down for too long because we don't have time. We're living life urgently.
I love it. I have some friends who have never seen me angry they've known me for like 7 years. Never seen me angry. I get serious. I get stuff done. What happens, my mind is just, shit, this is screwed now. How do I fix it?
Yeah.
And then I'm back to my countenance. But yes, I really like it. I think that just smiling opens many doors, to be honest. You walk in the room,
I know.
I cannot count how many times I've walked into a room and I'm just like, just a broad smile, and you're like, oh, I love your energy. I love you. I'm just
like people pick up on that. And if you talk about energy is real. As in, it is powerful. It is very, very real. I can't even begin. I don't know how to explain it, but people pick on that.
Well, thank you very much, Nora, for doing this. I do appreciate your time. As someone who is building a family, having your YouTube, all the many things you have to do, I can just imagine right now. I'm sure they're waiting for you. Just thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I do appreciate it. Seriously. Thank you so much.
If you just enjoyed this episode, the chances are that you're going to enjoy other amazing episodes that we've recorded, so you can check that out somewhere around this video. Before you go, please make sure you check our 3 boxes. First things first, please make sure to hit the subscribe or the follow button down below, because the more we grow, the bigger guests we can approach on this platform and the more value we can bring to you here on the podcast. Second, a lot of friends always reach out to me and say something like, hey, Arrey, I really did enjoy this particular segment of this episode. Pick up your phone and send this to a friend and say, hey, check this out between 10 to 15 minutes. There's something very important I'd love you to see. Number 3, please make sure to check out the links in the description for very helpful resources. You're going to find the link to join the Smart Club, which is my private mentorship club for friends who want to learn and master a high-income digital marketing skill. Whether your goal is to build your personal brand, become a freelancer, or get a job in digital marketing, the Smart Club is going to be the right place for you. So before you go, please make sure to tick those 3 boxes. Like I always say, my friends, cheers to many more years of shamelessly living and crazily excelling in passion and purpose. And I'll speak to you in the next episode.